Hey, it's me, Joni. And I know I haven't been on in a very long time. Let's see, the last time I made a video was January, and that was right before my grandfather passed away. So, you know, dealing with death is really not it's not easy. I mean, it's hard to deal with. And it's something that it's just really difficult. And I really don't know how to explain what I've been going through, but let me just put it this way. Um, I've finally been able to get myself to a position in my life that I'm feeling a lot better, and I mean, I don't know, it's just really hard to explain. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the whole child trafficking and the past videos that I've made, because that's something that you don't always have to deal with. A lot of people haven't been in the position that I've been in, and a lot of people also have never went through that. But I wanted to clarify the expressions that I made in my videos, because I was very emotional at that point. I've been going through this whole this whole child experience, the whole trafficking. It started when I was around 13, 14 years old, and it's it's something that a lot of people don't go through. So, when I was a younger child, I had a lot of difficulties in my life where my father wasn't in my life. He was very absent, and that's not an excuse to make, but I started developing a very different disorder that the doctors still didn't really know what it was. Actually, a lot of doctors didn't really know what trichotillomania was at that point. They consider it something similar to ADHA or ADHD. I don't know. I've went through bipolar. I've went through trichotillomania. I went through depression. I mean, you name it, I had it. But I was dealing with people that had no respect of how to treat people, and that's probably one of the longest things that I've had to deal with. So, um, you know, going to school was a hard, difficult thing to do with, to deal with mostly. And people usually don't really treat you very well when you're going to school. You're either bullied or you're well liked. And I was the kid that was bullied because of, pulling my hair and different stuff. So, a lot of people just had no respect for me, and I get that. We're all human. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. So, growing up and with a single parent, and your grandparents are raising you, and you're getting bullied at school, what do? You start fighting back. You get kind of aggressive with the kids, because at that point I was starting to pull my hair out, and people are like, "Oh my god, this girl's weird." So they pick on you, the girls and the guys would pull off my hat because I was wearing a hat at that time. I'd be punched in my face. I'd be kicked. I'd be jumped. I mean, honestly, it was hard. So, I'm trying to get an escape from school when I'm hitting middle school because everything's just really hard at that point. And the middle school that I went to would not allow me to wear a hat. So what I basically had to do was go to school every day with picked eyebrows, picked eyelashes. I had to basically go to school with basically a half bald head, half picked with hair, and deal with them my 6th grade year, which kind of sucked. It really sucked, but it is what it is. So, I mean, imagine going through elementary school, the 4th grade, and you're starting to pick your hair and you really don't know what's going on with yourself. You really don't know where it's starting from or stemming from, and you're nervous, and you got kids picking on you and teachers aren't helping you. So what do? You start running away because you're just tired of it. And then you have people at home that love you and care for you, and you hear the same thing. Don't pick your hair. Don't pick your hair. Don't pick your hair. And you get sick and tired of that. But you're more sick of the people that treat you like crap, which are the students at school. The teachers really, they were no help. I got jumped a lot. I mean, walking home from school, I got jumped a lot. I got in fist fights. I was punched a lot. And then I finally learned how to fight. And I started fighting back, but I got in trouble. So it's one thing or another, So when I start running away, I'm probably around like 11, 12 years old. And I'm just running away and ditching and getting away from the teachers that don't care, the counselors that don't give a shit. And I'm getting away from the people that are punching me and jumping me and, oh, she's bald. She has cancer. Watch out. You might get cancer from her. Kids are very evil. Not all kids, but the people that had put me through the shit that they put me through, that was like hell on earth. And I have no excuses because I allowed these people to do what they did. I mean, yeah, I went to the counselors. I talked to the teachers. It just seemed like nobody cared. Nobody cared that these people were treating me this way. And that's the thing that sucks. That's why I resulted to running away. That's why I resulted to doing what I did. And I remember there was a day that I actually got caught ditching. And it was my cousin that caught me. And she had called my mom, and I was hanging out on a porch on a very busy street that was really close to my middle school and close to home, and probably one of the most embarrassing days ever. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. My mom had grabbed me by the shirt, possibly by the ear, I don't really remember, but dragged me across the street and made me go home and go back to school. And I mean, what do I tell my mom? I hate going to school. These kids treat me like shit. I mean, I was told to not fight. I was told not to fight back. But when you have not only girls fighting you, but also guys punching you, what do? Yeah, you can tell the teachers all you want. No one cared. No one really cared. And I have to be really honest about that because that's probably another thing that made me hate school even more. No one cared about your safety. But it is what it is. So around the 8th grade, actually the 7th grade, a good friend of my mom recommended that she takes me to get a human hair wig, so I didn't have to be picked on anymore. And yeah, we did. And I felt a little bit better, but I was still getting picked on. Yeah, people don't give up. People will not let go of whatever problems they have with you. So I got my hair. But that didn't change anything because I was still the weird person that had the wig. So the 8th grade, I just got tired of it. Started ditching more, got in more trouble. I was hanging out with people that I shouldn't have been hanging out with. And I was hanging out with people that were way older than me. And again, that was a personal problem and a personal issue. But nevertheless, right around the 8th and 9th grade, that's when I was basically taken into the child trafficking. That's when I was abducted. Sorry. You know, that's one of the things that I will never forget, and actually is probably with me the rest of my life, because that's when I was raped. And that is probably why that's exactly why I was extremely emotional on that first video, because a lot of people that don't go through that experience have no idea what you're talking about or where you're coming from. So, I mean, it's it was hard to talk about it because I hadn't talked about this ever, not even to my own family. I never talked about it to a counselor either. So it's hard to talk about things that really affect your personal life, especially when you're a young teenager going through emotions and different things. So, I was raped by a man that was probably in his 40s or 50s. I believe that individual was already a sexual predator, from what the police had said after he was arrested, maybe a week and a half later from me getting abducted and trafficked. I have to be real honest with you. The reason why I was abducted was because, let's be honest, we live in a society that the internet is like an invitation to young girls and young guys. People will tell you wonderful things, make you feel better. Like, oh, you're not getting treated well at home? You know what? Come with me. They'll promise you the world, but that comes with a price. Sometimes that price could be your life. So, I have to be real honest with everyone. Sometimes you never know what your kids are doing online. I wish I wouldn't have been so onto the internet when I was young. I wish I would have never had the access. I wish I would have never gotten into what I got into. And I wish things could have been different. But sometimes if things could have been different, I could have been in a whole different scenario. So it just depends on what your kids are doing, but be mindful of what they do. And that's all I have to say. So the second time was somewhat similar of the first. And then I had been able to come home. And yeah, I was punished by my grandparents and my mother. So, and then the last time was when I was in high school. I mean, I went to a brand new school. I was picked on a little bit. And then I kind of just thought, fuck it. I started just walking down a busy street and I got into a car with people I didn't know and I went to go hang out and party. And go figure, you had crushed up ecstasy put into your drink. You want to experience, you want to enjoy life, and that experience actually cost me a lot. The next day, I had woken up and I had called the person that I was dating at that time, and his name was Freddie. And he came to pick me up, and I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to explain to my parents what had happened. And so Freddie took me back to his apartment. And I was not feeling good at that point. I just really wanted to take a shower and go to bed. So, me, I get in the shower and I just remember turning on the water, and after that, I remember nothing. I honestly just remember waking up in the hospital and I'm hooked up to machines, I'm hooked up to IVs. I have the heart machine hooked up to me. And at the time that I had woken up, I could not move my arms. I couldn't move my legs. I could hear people talking around me, but I couldn't talk. And when I attempted to talk, I couldn't make words. I couldn't even say a simple sentence. So apparently, Freddie had found me in the bathroom, in the tub. I believe the paramedic said that I had had multiple seizures, not just one, multiple. And they had to basically help me get my clothes on. Well, Freddie did. And they had to basically drag me out of the apartment because he lived on a bottom floor and they weren't able to take the gurney downstairs because there were like steps. So I wasn't able to walk. I couldn't talk. I don't remember the ride to the hospital. I don't even remember being in the emergency room. But I believe that they did one or two spinal taps. And then I just remember waking up a couple days later. I was in the hospital for about 2.5, 3 months. And eventually, from what I understand, they pumped my stomach, and my stomach had an excessive amount of ecstasy in it. Enough to kill you. So, yeah. That was the point in my life that I realized I had fucked up. Sometimes I guess it gets to that. When you're just tired of people treating you like shit at school and not really having people that care about you. I mean, don't get me wrong. My family cares about me a lot. But not having that that father figure in your life is definitely the biggest downfall of growing up. So I went through a lot of CAT scans and MRIs, and go to find out, after the amounts of ecstasy I had in my body, it had affected the neurological part of my brain that controls motor skills, languages, and memories. And I don't really remember what side of the brain or the lobe it was on, but it took up it basically kind of like diminished or killed a good 60% of that. So, oh, and I also had to learn how to walk and talk again. So yeah, I went to rehab to learn how to walk and talk. At that point, I was very fluent in Spanish, and I had to learn how to speak Spanish again, which I'm not very good at anymore because I really wish, I really wish I could go back and change everything, but I really don't want to, because I've learned a lot of things in life that have opened my eyes. I don't have to use the whole child trafficking thing to be like a victim, even though I am a victim, but I don't have to have that victim mentality. It's taken me so many years to see that it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to have experiences. It's okay to be different, But there are signs of trafficking. There are signs. And sometimes, we live in a time where a lot of parents are very lax on the way that their kids dress. Let me be honest. My mother and my grandmother would never let me wear the short shorts that these parents let their kids wear. I was never able to look provocative, and thank God, or else I might be in a whole different scenario. You definitely gotta know who your kids talk to. If I would have gave the chance for my grandparents to let them know who I was talking to, I probably wouldn't have been in the situations I was in. But you also have to remember that the person that's going through these hardships of being bullied at school, and the teacher's not caring, and the principal is not caring, and the counselor's not caring, that's also diminishing something inside of that person. And a lot of kids my age in high school were committing suicide, and I was one of those kids that wanted to, because I was so tired of being picked on. And sometimes you just get so tired of just going through the shit you go through. I didn't want to talk to a counselor. I had went through counselors before. I didn't want to talk about my problems. I didn't want to have that victim mentality. But I also just really needed somebody to talk to. Go figure. You can't have it both ways. But I just really want you guys to know that I'm not mad at myself anymore. And I want to be able to help other people that are going through what they're going through, because it's not easy. Life's not easy. If life was easy, none of us would be on YouTube talking about the things that we talk about. And besides going through what I went through, I had so many experiences, good and bad. And I'm finally in a position where I want to be able to help other people. I want to be able to help the trafficking victims that are going through what they're going through. Because we have to help each other. If we don't, what will happen? You know, we have to make sure that we watch out for each other. But other than that, I do want to talk about the conspiracies that I was talking about the other day in my video. You know, living in Arizona, we're going through the audit, and if you watch the main news, the mainstream media is not going to tell you what's really going on, because we all know that bias. We know the orange man bad theory. You know, there's so much going on with that audit. A lot of people don't understand exactly what's going on. But I have a feeling that Katie Hobbs and Governor Doug Ducey are both going to be up a creek that nobody wants to be. And for the sole purpose they would be there is because they signed off onto a fraudulent election. No chain of custody, no nothing. So my outlook on this election right now, this whole audit, fraud has been found. Chain of custody was broken. Ballots were falsified. And you know how Fox and CNN called the election early? Unfortunately, I'm a very strong Trump supporter, and I will be for the rest of my life, because that man has changed a lot. I'm going to be real honest with you, and I believe in my heart and my tinfoil hat that Donald J. Trump won the entire state of Arizona. But, see, we're only doing the Maricopa County audit. So if the rest of the other counties did a forensic audit, we would know for sure. It just takes Maricopa County to be the first domino to fall. And then you will have a chain reaction. Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Georgia, Michigan, and I believe Nevada should do one as well, because we all know something's going on over there. But that's not my only conspiracy theory. I mean, I have a lot. Look, I want to talk about the FF. FF is a false flag. False flag operations are usually bought and paid by certain politicians and government individuals. So let's think about this critically. Columbine was an FF. Parkland was an FF. Las Vegas was an FF. And 9/11 was an FF. Look, what I'm trying to say is people and innocent people do perish during FFs. And I am not a denier. I'm specifying that people do perish. But these FFs are people who are considered high elite, high profile. A lot of this is bought and paid to instill fear, especially when it comes to shootings, because they would like to push the gun control. That's why they do it. They want to instill fear into everyone's lives. And look, I didn't always think like this. I used to be the kind of person that would believe everything that I heard on Fox News and CNN. I was never the outrageous person I am now. We have to understand that our government is not our friend. And I'm not that person that's against the entire government. I'm just against people that are very corrupt. So, with everything, Antifa and Black Lives Matters, again, paid for and bought. George Soros is a big name. He's connected to even the people here in Arizona that have a lot to do with the election. Katie Hobbs was paid for by George Soros. Sheriff Penzone, paid by George Soros. This is why people keep getting voted in, because they are paid assets. Think about it. When you live in a city of corruption, how do people get up into the ranks? They're bought and paid assets. Ilhan Omar, paid asset. AOC, another paid asset. People that talk about democratic socialism, they are paid and bought for. Nobody wants to live in a socialist country. Venezuela? Would you want to live there? No. But guess what? We're kind of having those Venezuelan feels. I mean, with the whole colonial pipeline shut down from Friday to, I don't know, what was it, last night at 5 o'clock? So, all I have to say is use critical thinking in everything you see on TV. Israel, Palestine, think critically. It doesn't take a lot, but you have to research everything. And don't use Google, because you're not going to find what you need to find. DuckDuckGo is where you need to go. But so it's been about 33 minutes, and I am going to call it a night for tonight, and I'll be coming out with probably more conspiracy theories another night, because I don't want to overdo it. You know, YouTube might silence me, kind of like my silencing is coming on Instagram. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. As always, it's Choni. And if you'd like to hit me up, I'm on Instagram at Italian Maximelt. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I'll see you again on another live stream. I'm out.